You know Bonnie better than anyone. What does your gut say?
Bonnie still needs us. Our time ain't over yet.
We're gonna need backup. Affirmative, Commander. No way.
Come on, Bullseye!
Hey, wait for us! You got a friend in
Claire!
Disney and Pixar's Toy Story 5.
I had a chance to see the film earlier this week and just fell in love with it. So funny, so entertaining, teared
So
up
good,
like
right?
crazy. Just everything you could ever want from a Toy Story movie.
Yes.
Wanted to thank you for that.
Oh, well, thank Pixar, man. They're just like, it's magic over there. I don't know what's in the water over at Pixar, but it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, I don't know. It's hit after hit.
Yeah.
So I wanted to start with the film's very clever, timely premise, how
Mm,
toys are confronting their relevance as kids increasingly use and rely on technology.
yeah.
How do you see the film stance on technology and the role it plays in human connection as being
Yeah.
relevant for this
Yeah.
time?
Exactly. I love what you just said because what I see is Pixar's not bashing technology. It's here to stay. It's not going away. But they're just saying that nothing's going to replace human connection. Nothing, no, I think technology tries to replace it, but it's not. True, powerful human connection, nothing can match that. And that's as long as we keep that balance, we keep that play, that's the key. I mean, I have a 20-year-old daughter, and it's challenging for me to constantly, because I'm always like, be present, be present, be present. But I need to point the finger back at myself, because like she's watching me and I got to put the phone down. Like these are boundaries I have to make for myself.
Yeah, no, and I really appreciate how the film doesn't take like a preachy approach to that.
Yeah, no.
It's very much a realistic one. I think one thing I really enjoy about Toy Story movies in general, and this film included, is that in addition to being so funny and entertaining, it always leads to such rich conversation afterward.
Yeah.
Like my family and I were just talking nonstop about it. What kind of
Uh,
conversations do you hope people have after watching this film in particular?
yeah, I mean, there's so many, there's so many. I mean, obviously, the obvious of like discussing how technology is a part of our lives and how if there are areas, and there will be areas that we need to make boundaries with, but also like the layer of Jesse's story, and kind of without going into details, just her discovery at the end and how powerful that is. One thing I always love for people to discuss after a Toy Story thing is like the reason why people keep coming back, in my opinion, is because you see this community of characters stick together. You see that family, you see that they're rooting for each other, they got each other's back, they support each other. And there's such power in that. There's magic in that, and that we have to always keep that. That's the longevity of Toy Story. That's what's kept it alive.
Yeah, that like found family at the core
Yeah,
of it.
totally.
I wanted to talk obviously about Forky. He became an instant fan favorite after Toy Story 4, and you had that incredible Disney Plus series, which I hope we get more of, by the way.
Oh,
Um,
same.
what is it about Forky that you think resonated and continues to resonate so much with fans?
Oh, I love Forky so much. I just like, he's so open and curious. He doesn't, I mean, a classic example is during four when, there's that Gabby, the evil antique doll, and everybody was like, oh, she's evil, she's evil, she's evil. Forky was like, I think she's got pretty hair. And so he goes over and just starts brushing her hair. And because of that connection, because he kind of crossed over into whatever everybody else was calling evil, you saw this redemption in Gabby, and that she found somebody to love her and found a child. And it's just like he just has this childlike curiosity with no labels and stuff that I think is just such a role model, for me at least, I love him.
Yeah, it's such, I love his kind of existential
Oh,
crises he has and, the
so good.
conversations. I imagine the conversations he has with Karen Beverly, which I guess, can we talk a little bit about that? How do you see
Sure.
his journey in this film? Obviously, he's on the precipice of marriage at the end of the last film.
Yeah, he is. He is. But this is another thing I love about Forky is he's blunt. Like he just says, he keeps it real. He's like, listen, I love her, but this is going to be hard. And it's just like, yeah, relationships are tough. It's a lot of work, but it's worth it. But it is pretty also really funny. Like he works fast. Like the guy comes into the world, Toy Story 4, and he's already met somebody at the end of the movie. And then now he's getting married. When I think the only other married people are potato heads. So it's like he's definitely like he's curious. Like he's just like, I found somebody, now I got a lot of questions.
Yeah, but like you said, he knows what he wants and he
He
says
knows
what
he's
he
got a
wants.
mission. And he's got
Yeah.
many anywhere he goes, he's like, what's this? What's this? Another line that I love is when the lizard I guess they realized that it wasn't the same lizard, and then Forky's like, okay, lizard number one died. This is the second lizard. And
Yeah,
he
this
doesn't
is
do it like shame. He doesn't, he just wants to let the facts be known.
yeah, like I think Sammy, right? Sammy number two or
Sammy,
something like
that's right.
that.
Yeah, Sammy.
Yeah. That's such
Yeah.
a good joke. M One of many in the film. So we had an opportunity to speak to Piper Curda a few months ago about
Mm,
hoppers, and she was discussing to us how things kind of work in terms of the recording process at
yeah.
Pixar, how everyone recorded separately from one another. I'm wondering what your recording process was like for Toy Story 5, and if that differed at all from your time in Toy Story 4 and even Inside Out.
Yeah, I was very nervous coming into Toy Story 4. It wasn't until I heard my voice in the trailer for the movie that I thought, okay, they didn't replace me. I was convinced they were going to replace me. And so I was definitely overwhelmed. I had such a great time, but was overwhelmed. This time it was a lot more fun. Like I kind of, because Forky's been established, the character's been established, and it was just playtime. And Andrew Stanton and Ken Harris, who directed it, just you only get, I don't know if Piper said this too, but you only get certain pages. So you don't see a whole story. And it wasn't until I saw the movie that I really knew what was going on. But it's so dependent on the director. Like he not only
Mm.
has to do all the voices because no one else is around, but he also has to he has to convey it in a way that he's getting what he needs to make it as seamless as it is in the movie. So much is on them to convey that world, you know? And so we're all just kind of leaning on that and then they give the openness of like, okay, you got what's on the page. Now just play. If anything comes up, just like be silly. And then that's just like a gift for a comic actor.
I love that. I'm really glad you got to play around a little bit more, and I imagine that
Yeah.
pressure was really high. But now, the character's part of you now. I wanted to ask about like finding your voice as Forky. Obviously, his voice is different than your own. What does it take to like switch into that mode? Is it like, I mean, you kind of flicked into it a little bit there, even like,
Yeah,
is
yeah.
that something you can just like turn on and off, or is that something you really need to like work into?
I can now turn it on and off. And it was really fun because when I came in for Toy Story 4, they had taken me from Buster and from Gary off Veep and put him into this fork, into the spork. And and then, because he was so anxious and he was kind of existential. And then through discussions, we talked about like bringing a little more New York into him and bringing a little more freedom and openness and joy in addition to that kind of anxious trash element of him. And so that kind of collaboration was really fun and the more times I did it, it just kind of locked in. And like the guy, it was just so fun to say I'm trash like over and over and over and over and over.
I imagine he's such a funny character.
Oh,
Like,
he's great. I love him.
what do you envision as the future for him beyond Toy Story 4 or 5, excuse me? Do you think Forky and Karen Beverly are going to have all sorts of existential conversations? Is there kids in the works? Could
I
we get
know.
more shorts?
I would love it. Somebody recently said that their child would be those tiny spoons that you get work on oysters, those tiny forks on oysters. But I mean, anywhere Forky goes it's almost like I would like a Forky when I travel because he can, if I'm afraid to ask a question, I'd be like, I don't know. He'll be like, I'll ask it. And he'll just go up and just be like, so what's going on here? What's the deal? It's like, so anywhere you put him, he's an investigator.
Yeah, he says what we're too afraid to say, right? Or maybe want to say, but don't have the courage to say.
Yes.
You mentioned Veep there, and I wanted to talk a little bit about like your comedic work more generally.
Sure.
And obviously, Arrested Development and things. You're a
Yeah.
legend in this space. How does crafting a strong comedic performance in which you nail all those humorous beats differ on projects like Arrested Development and Veep compared to Toy Story 5, in which you rely exclusively on your voice?
Yeah. If I'm completely candid, when I started doing animation before Toy Story, I was very, very nervous about that. I was nervous because having done so much comedy, you rely on your nonverbal, I mean, literally my character in Veep, he could only do not, he wasn't even allowed to speak. So it was like, it was all nonverbal. It was all the body. And so going into the booth when you just have a microphone, there's this thing that's like, oh crap. I mean, can I deliver? Is it going to be funny? Because it's just my voice.
Mhm.
And then I kind of realized, okay, I'm going to do the same performance in front of this mic that I would do in front of a camera. And I would just put it on steroids. And so that's what I did, to the point where many times the director would have to say, Tony, you've got to stay close to the mic. You've got to stay close to the mic. Because I was just all over the map. And he was like, okay, come here. And so that freedom is what I finally clicked into, just to do the same thing in front of the mic.
That's so interesting. So you kind of approach it very similar
Yeah,
to live
I do.
action in that regard.
I do. And much like when you're doing on camera, like for instance, Gary, the smallest thing the camera can pick up on. And so in a mic, like Forky might do something that's like, oh, why? It's like the smallest thing can be amplified and can be funny.
I love that. That's so fascinating. So I wanted to talk as well. You feature, it kind of struck me this morning. You feature in arguably the biggest theatrically released movie of the summer in Toy Story 5 and the biggest streaming movie of the summer in Office Romance. So this is definitely like the
Oh, I haven't even heard that. That's nice to hear.
summer of Tony Hale. When selecting projects that you want to invest your time, your energy, your creative energy into, what distinguishes a project that you go for, like Toy Story 5, as opposed to maybe something that doesn't resonate as much?
I mean, I've been doing this for 30 years and this business is a hustle. And so I'm so grateful to even be given this opportunities and they even think of me. Because this business is a lot of rejection. So even the thought that somebody is considering me I'm so flattered by it. So I never take that for granted, for one. Um, and I think it's like if I'm trying to decide as to whether to do something, it's all the kind of global picture of the project, meaning I love to have a talk with the director or the showrunner just to find out like, why do you want to tell where did this come from and this character and what's going on here? And because they're the creators of it, and it's like that's like and even the collaboration with Pixar, like hearing like when Forky was introduced, like, wow, how did this come about and where did this come from? It just makes it so much stronger. So all that to say, if I can have that conversation with whoever's doing it, that always helps the choice.
Yeah. So it sounds like it comes down to like the creatives involved and like that sort of thing. I
Yeah.
really appreciate your humility though too. I mean, I think it's incredible that someone as accomplished as you are and has the filmography that you do is still like it's so extraordinarily grateful. I think that's really touching.
Oh gosh, you have. That's the thing. If I ever if you ever stop being grateful, someone just needs to punch me, like because that's it is to even be invited to this party is like overwhelming to me. And I say that because this business hasn't been. It's a roller coaster. I mean, people do see the work that I do, which is so flattering, but they don't see the months and months and months of trying to get jobs and getting rejected and stuff like that. It's not the easiest business, so I'm incredibly grateful.
Yeah, yeah, we see the sliver of the
Yeah,
product, which is great, right? But we don't see the build up.
yeah.
I guess as a last question I wanted to pose to you. So the film comes out next week, and I imagine,
Mm.
movie theaters are going to be filled all around the world with it. What plans do you have to kind of experience the movie, not just as someone who's been part of it, but as a fan?
Yeah, I mean, I've kind of not stopped being a fan recently because since we don't ever get to record together, anytime we're on press, I like turn into a massive fanboy because I got to meet Joan Cusack, and I was interviewing with her at Pixar, and I mean, come on, like talk about filmography. I mean, just
Right.
her journey and career is like, oof. So that I'm still kind of reeling from that. So I think when I do see it again, I think I have these wake up moments. Like it was, if I'm honest, this Toy Story is when I think it finally began to hit me that I was even in Toy Story 4. Because I'm just like, whoa, this is crazy. That I'm able to take my daughter and my wife to the premiere. My daughter's a huge Taylor Swift fan. And so like that happens. I'm like, what is going on? You know? I mean, we got to meet her publicist, it's just like crazy stuff like that. It's all exciting.
Yeah, life can be so surreal at times.
So
And I
surreal.
hope you enjoy every moment of it because this movie is It's so beautiful and so touching, and you play a critical role in that. So I thank you
Uh,
so much for your time today.